We're at the Forks in downtown Winnipeg on the steps of the National Canadian Museum for Human Rights, and just take a look at this scene. This just keeps coming and coming and coming. Dozens of people, we're actually in the hundreds now, keep marching past us, many of them carrying signs, love for Tina, justice for Tina Fontaine. There's a lot of sorrow, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration in this crowd, and it's a diverse crowd. It is mostly Indigenous, but there are other people here joining in unity. A lot of frustration in Winnipeg and across Canada over that verdict. Many people felt that there just wasn't the evidence to convict Raymond Cormier. A lot of people expressing frustration over that, but also expressing frustration over the basic societal systems that broke down and failed Tina Fontaine. It started when her family fell apart. She wound up in the care of Child and Family Services here in Manitoba, wound up going missing after being in supervised care, wound up being in contact with police who didn't identify her as a missing person when she was in a database, and then she wound up dead in the river here in Winnipeg. And of course, so many people frustrated that it took so long to make an arrest, to lay charges, more than a year, and then after that, so much frustration over the verdict that the case just basically wasn't strong enough to hold up in court. So that's what we're seeing here today. It's a very striking scene. As I say, there's a lot of anger, but it's running under the surface. It's frustration, and it's people here trying to make the point that they want something better.
And have they said what that better is? I'm just wondering if there's something more specific as to what they want.
Well, you know, it varies from person to person who you talk to in this crowd. You know, there's a lot of people here that have seen Tina Fontaine as a symbol for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Her disappearance and her death was one of the driving factors that got a national inquiry. Other people are pointing to the problems in the child welfare system here in Manitoba and across the country, the large apprehension rate for so many Indigenous children, and others are pointing to the police investigation itself, saying, you know, it just didn't get it. It just didn't get what it needed to secure a conviction. So frustration in many different quarters here. We're also seeing many leaders, Indigenous leaders here. The mayor of Winnipeg is here. The opposition leader of the province of Manitoba, Wab Kinew, with the provincial NDP, is here as well. A lot of people here just wanting to make the point they don't want Tina Fontaine forgotten and that they would like to see change in the system overall.